now the men who brought the plane down safely. Captain Sully Sullenberger, who is a CBS News aviation and safety expert, and his first officer on that day, Jeff Skiles. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Listen, it was 208 seconds from the time the birds hit the plane to the time that you said the words brace for impact and you were down on the water, saving 155 lives. When it happened, guys, did you think we can survive this, or did you think I really don't know what's going to happen here?
It was a startling shock after almost 30 years of routine flying, where we work hard never to be surprised by anything in an airplane, and we were suddenly confronted with an ultimate challenge of a lifetime, one we'd never trained for. But I was confident at the outset that I could find a way to solve the problem in that time that we had.
Jeff, there's been a debate. I've heard friends say, was it a heroic act, or was it something that any well-trained pilot could do? What do you think about that?
Well, certainly we have, we're very well trained, and we have that to fall back on in these kind of situations. But obviously, any kind of circumstances could lead to a different result. And the one thing I can tell you is that I am very happy to have been flying with Captain Sullenberger on that day.
And a lot of other people. And I could not have had a better colleague that day or since.
Did you two know each other at all?
We had met for the first time at the beginning of that trip 3 days before. I'd never seen him before, which is not uncommon at a large airline. But we're trained at such a high standard, we had become interchangeable. And this was his first trip, series of flights on the Airbus after having been trained on it, after having been transitioned from the aircraft to the 737. So he was brand new to the airplane.
Describe for us again that moment when you made the decision, when you said we're going to have to land on the Hudson.
I chose the least bad option, but I was happy to have it. You know, in this area, since we couldn't glide as far as a runway, it was the only other place to go that could be made a runway. And by choosing that, of course, then we had to be rescued from the river. By landing where we did, I knew it would be between the ferry terminals where rescue was possible. And in fact, the first New York Waterway ferry got there within 4 minutes.
Did you ever have a breakdown, Sully? You know, you can see it still haunts the passenger. You know, he gets very emotional. And every time we've seen you, you're always so calm, so cool, so collected, which is good in a pilot. But did you ever have a moment where you go, oh my God, I can't believe you survived? Did you ever cry? Did you ever say to Lori, I can't believe that this has happened? Did you have that moment, either one of you?
No, but I called home late that night and talked to Lori for a subsequent time. And I said, I think our lives have changed forever. I just didn't know exactly how or how much, but I knew, actually in the first seconds, that this was going to be a life-changing event.
Okay, but life-changing because you knew there'd be enormous attention on you, and your life would change because that, or because something happened in the thing itself?
Both. Both. I mean, it was one of those events in the first seconds I knew it was going to be unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It was going to divide my life into before and after. I knew it was going to be the challenge of a lifetime that I had to find a way to solve. But it also provided opportunities like this one to have a greater voice that we now both have about things we've been passionate about and cared about our whole professional lives, like the safety of the traveling public.
What have we learned 5 years later about safety in flying?
A lot, but actually not much because of this flight. Actually, very little has changed because of this flight. In fact, in the final report that the NTSB wrote on our flight, they made several dozen recommendations, to my knowledge, none of which has been implemented by FAA or by industry. It's been instead the Buffalo crash a month later in February 2009 that has led to changes, and only because the families of the victims have been such ardent advocates on Capitol Hill.
But let me ask you this, because we've been talking this morning because CBS News obtained that footage after the Asiana crash where that young woman was run over twice by a truck and killed. The incident, Southwest Airlines landing at the wrong airport. Are these instances of mechanical failure or pilot error, even though, in many cases, the pilot is so important?
It takes both a pilot and a robust, resilient system in which we operate to try to trap errors and catch them before they can lead to a bad outcome. So it's really important that everyone remain vigilant and that they fulfill their professional responsibilities, and we keep on trying to mitigate risk proactively and make aviation safer.
Well, I think everybody is very glad that both of you were at the cockpit, because Jeff, you're also a steady, calm hand. Sully, you have a birthday coming up, January
23rd, which I understand is someone else's. So it's absolutely true that Nora and I were born on the same month and day. Now, the year, that's a different issue.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.